welcome to Shrubby Buddies Podcast, where we talk all things horticulture right from the heart of Zone 6B. So grab a drink, step into the garden, and grow with us as we talk plants, tools, tips, tricks, with a healthy dose of comedy and banter. Whether you're crushing it in the landscape or just trying to keep the one plant alive, we've got you covered. And as always, love you harder plus two. Hey, Shrubby Buddies, and welcome to this week's episode of the podcast. I'm Matthew C., joined with Timmy D in Studio 6B, coming at you from Central Ohio. Timothy.
Hey, Shrubby Buddies.
Say what you were saying before we started recording.
Welcome to the podcast. We're going to talk about poo-poo and pee-pee.
Awesome.
Well, I'm going to do the intro someday.
Please do.
Hey, Shrubby Buddies.
Is it weird how I do that? Hey.
No, it's jolly.
Okay. I could just be like, hi, Shrubby Buddies. Anyways, what's new with you?
Oh, boy. Well, we typically start with weather now, don't we? It's been raining a lot.
We don't have to talk about weather. We just always do.
Have you ever seen this much rain in August? Like, serious.
So we had rain here at my homestead in Marysville this afternoon. But this morning when I left work, so I don't know how much has happened here today. But this morning before I left for work, since the beginning of August, we're at 7.5 inches of rain here.
Wow.
The average in Central Ohio for the whole month of August is usually about 3.5 inches.
Yeah, I mean, there's likely been August where we've hardly had a drop of rain by this point in the month.
Yeah, that's just like the historical average, 3.5 inches. So here we are sitting at double our average.
I mean, I'm not really complaining. I know you're done with it, but I much prefer working in it. Like Amelia had a soccer game yesterday, and you remember how humid it was yesterday, right? And the rain started to move in. A storm started to move in during the game. And knowing everyone's getting under cover, like, oh no. And I was just like, bring it on. Felt so good.
Yeah.
It felt so good.
For me, it's just like, yeah, I'm just ready to not have like muddy boots. And I'm ready to be able to pull my vehicle, my truck up to the like job site without having to put it in 4-wheel drive.
Yeah.
And I'm ready to mow my grass without like grass just clumping up everywhere, you know?
Yeah.
I know. No, like I'm not complaining because everything's lush and green here in August, you know? And really it's been very humid and the dew points have been high. So it's felt just like swampy and like rainforest like. But the temperatures haven't been hateful. Like 85 today. I mean, it could be 100 in August.
Right.
And really the temperatures the rest of this week here are only supposed to be in the 70s. And I know that it's supposed to start drying out some and lower dew points are supposed to move in. But I'm just ready for like a little dry spell, let things dry out some. Not drought, but just let things dry out some. I'm ready for like a high of 55 or 60. Low humidity, low dew point.
Open the windows.
And then like, give me an inch of rain through the course of the week. Inch and a half of rain. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, it is cool how little we've watered at work.
Yeah.
You know?
I know.
Like I was telling somebody like last week was probably the first August week I've ever worked where nobody in horticulture watered anything.
Yeah, we didn't water anything.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
So, and we made a big stink about not having enough water trucks this year, and now
and we haven't even
needed them. But that's just how the cookie crumbles, you know.
That's how the cookie crumbles.
So what else is new with you besides the weather?
Yeah. So
what's this ladder doing in here? In studio?
Don't even get me started on that.
You folks can't see it, but there's just like a big blue ladder resting against the wall in here, like it's a construction site or something.
We've been doing a little bathroom remodel on the main bathroom and on our bathroom.
Okay.
And yeah, you know,
So Studio 6B just becomes
And
like a
Taylor just decided that this would be a good landing spot for a 6-foot
I see how it is, Taylor.
step ladder. So I don't know. What did I say when I walked in the room? I'm like, this is some bullshit right
It's
here.
crushing the vibes.
Yeah.
You know?
It'll be out of here. I'm gonna get on her about it. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, you are.
I was up at my parents' last week. So what? I went with my brother and nephew to the Cincinnati Bengals Detroit Lions football game in Cincy.
Well, you can't. Your transition was weird there. You said you were at your parents.
I know.
and then
Hold
you
on.
just
I'm
went-
getting to that. I'm sorry.
Okay.
So
His parents don't live in
Thursday
Cincinnati.
night, we took my nephew Jameson for his 7th birthday down to Cincinnati to see the Lions and Bengals play opening preseason game. I'm a Browns fan, not a Bengals fan, but my nephew's a Lions fan. So Chris and Jameson both root for the Lions, and it was fun. It rained on us down there. The whole first half, pretty much, it rained pretty good. I bought all of us some cheap ponchos on our way in. I wore mine. I don't know if Chris threw his on. Jameson would not, though. He's like, no, I want to be in the rain. It's a football game. I'm like,
Good
all
for
right,
him.
buddy. Well,
Good for him.
I'm throwing my poncho on. But yeah, it was fun. He had a lot of fun. It's a nice stadium.
Can I ask a silly question?
Yeah.
What color ponchos did you buy?
Clear.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah, they were just like, it was the last little poncho stand outside the stadium as we were walking in. They were selling them for like $5 a piece.
Okay. Because I always think back to going to an Ohio State games.
And they wear orange
the
ones
shoe.
or something.
Yeah, and it's like I don't want to stereotype, but it typically seems to be the older crowd,
Mm-hmm.
and they've got their poncho, and it's yellow and orange and blue. You know, they've got those colorful ass ponchos, and it totally ruins the view of the stadium.
No, they were clear ponchos.
So good.
So
Good. That's the way to go.
So that was fun. Downtown Cincinnati's a bitch to get into. We sat in traffic forever to get in there. I mean, it was like a normal Cincinnati trip from here. If you're not hitting traffic, it's 2 hours from here to downtown. It took us 3.5 hours. We get down there, but downtown Cincinnati is a beautiful town, like and down along the river and stuff. Beautiful gardens,
Some
beautiful
undulation,
landscapes.
that unglaciated
Yeah.
portion of the state.
So that was fun. And then the following day after the game, Addie and I ran up to my parents' house for Jameson's birthday party. They had it at a bowling alley that has like an arcade and laser tag. So they did that. And I did a little, looking at my parents' gardens. I'm redoing their landscape, and I'm looking at 2 or 3 other spots that I still need to do this fall up there. Get some perennials in the ground. So yeah, it was good to see them and catch up. Took the nieces and nephew and went down to the lake and skipped rocks, and
It's always a good time.
yeah, found a lucky stone.
Did you? Little sheephead
Yeah,
ear bone.
I found it and I gave it to Addie. Excuse me. And
She lost it, didn't she?
she left it up there.
Yeah.
So Jameson gets a lucky stone now,
Nice.
I suppose. But it was a good one, though.
Big one.
Yeah, big one. Yeah,
Cool.
it was a Fish, Ohio sheephead for sure.
For sure.
But
36 incher.
yeah, probably.
Not the stone, but the fish.
No, the stone was 36
No
inches.
shit.
Yeah.
That's a big one.
So other than that, man, not a whole lot going on. Just trying to survive.
Yeah.
You know,
Feel you, bro.
we need to have a meeting about it. But people, merch is close to dropping. We've
said that a lot of times, though.
Yeah, we've fussed around with this forever now. I've got like a hat or 2 I need to add. Everything else is ready. And when it drops, I'll make a short video or something and put a social media post out. But yeah, we're just going to have a few t-shirts, a couple sweatshirts, a kid's shirt, a couple hats, nothing crazy. So,
And the holdup is there's a few different holdups with it. It's proven to be more complicated than originally thought. And you and I tend to want something to be perfect. You know what I mean? Like, I get real picky about how certain things look and are laid out. And you do too about certain things. And I just think it's sometimes maybe we just need to like roll with it and see what happens.
Yeah, because
So
like a lot of the stuff that we have on there, I probably won't even buy. You know what I mean? But
right.
Yeah, so that'll be dropping soon. You're right; it has been more of a hassle, but we're getting it all squared away. So that'll be fun. If If you want some Shrubby Buddy merch, we're going to have it.
Yeah.
But yeah.
And if you want some Sam merch, you're going to have to go to California.
I want some Sam merch. Song of the week.
What do we got? Yeah. What have you been listening to?
Song of the week. Hold on. Let me adjust the thermostat.
Don't play the song or else they'll get us.
Yeah, I know.
Copyrights.
The song of the week is Before the Sun by Gregory Alan Isaacoff off the album Appaloosa Bones. So it's a good one. Very mellow, laid back tune.
He's probably been, Gregory Alan Isaacoff's probably been my favorite artist probably for the last, let me think, how old's Whitney? Probably like five years.
Yeah.
So we hit him hard a lot right when my second daughter was born. You know, when you're in that phase when there's a baby and you're just like always up at weird hours, we were just listening to a lot of that just to kind of calm our nerves, and just kind of stuck throughout.
Yeah, and it's very calming music.
Yeah. It's like my go-to when I just want to chill artist. So that's a great pick. It's a wonderful pick.
Good. I'm glad that it meets your standards.
Me, you, and Megan went and saw him in concert. Was that 2 summers ago?
Was that 2 already?
Was it last summer? No, I think it was 2 summers ago.
I remember. Yeah, it was 2 summers ago.
It was a lot of fun.
Hot as hell.
It was so hot.
And sticky.
Yeah,
and we were soaked. Me and you were soaked to the bone.
He
in
played
sweat.
the music, and it was wonderful to see.
Yeah,
so I'll
it
definitely
was.
see him again.
Yep.
So, thank you. And he's also a horticulturist, which I think we've mentioned before. But if you're listening, man,
Gregory, if you're listening to this,
we'd love to like collaborate one way, shape, or form.
That would be fun.
You know.
So
Anywho,
this week's episode, we want to take a deep dive in one particular, on one particular perennial.
we like to do this every now and again, right? Take a deep dive on a specific plant.
Yeah, but I mean, I don't know that we've ever taken this deep of a dive on a plant before.
Well, I don't know that we've ever done a perennial. I know we've done like pawpaws and buckeyes, right?
Yeah, I suppose you're right. Did we do pawpaws? I know we did buckeyes for sure. Maybe hydrangeas too, but. This week, it's a perennial that we talk about often on here because it's just a workhorse perennial, very utilitarian, can be used in a lot of different ways, planting styles, designs, yada, yada, yada. And that is Amsonia. So we're going to do a deep dive on Amsonias.
If I were able to, I don't want to change my name. I think my name's fine because people know me by Tim.
Yeah.
But if I was going to change my name, I would name myself Sonia.
Really?
Yeah, so I could say, I am Sonia.
Oh, my God. There it is, people. There's Tim's joke of the day.
But for real.
I thought you said you wanted to be funnier on this podcast. So, all right, Amsonia.
Sorry, got you thrown off.
Where do you want to start out with this?
Well, it's a good genus of perennial that we use a lot of, like you mentioned, and it's definitely a plant that you fell in love with first and turned me on to.
Okay.
Like I'm fairly certain that you got really obsessed with Amsonia some years ago, and you were using it a lot, and I followed suit. Like I just kind of was like, yeah, that's good. I like what it's doing there. So I would say you're like the person who got me into the Amsonia the most.
You're welcome.
So thank you.
Yep, you're welcome.
So
what's the common name?
Blue Star.
Blue Star. You know why it's called Blue Star?
No, tell me.
It's got the flower on Amsonia is a 5-petaled pale blue or blue colored flower. So
and a star has 5 points.
It kind of looks like a little star.
Okay,
blue star.
Very cool.
So, yeah.
And yeah, we'll go into a little bit more depth on these flowers, but it is a really nice blue.
Yes,
like we've talked, you don't get a whole lot of true blues in nature, but it is a really like nice, soft. It can vary from species to species, but you get like a nice, soft, like sky blue, kind of color, or that like baby blue that
like
you think
powdery
of.
blue, for sure.
Yeah. So
yep. Part of the what family is it part of? The Apocinaceae. Am I saying that right? Apocinaceae.
Let me just make sure. that we're
Anyways,
saying
it's
is
the
right.
same family as like milkweeds, dogbanes, things like that. So cousins
Yeah.
to that.
Apocynaceae.
Apocynaceae. Yeah.
So you can kind of see that if you were to break off a stem,
Yeah.
you could see some milky sap.
Yeah.
And, that's something you think of when you think of dogbane or milkweeds too. And it's something that often keeps critters from munching on it.
Yeah. So that's one of the, I guess one of the pluses to this plant I will never say anything's deer proof.
Right. Because did we see some deer munching on salvia recently?
Yes.
Which is messed up.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're not going to call it deer proof, but they're definitely not going to
very deer resistant. Yeah.
Go for it first.
Yeah. So it's one of those perennials you can plant, and if you've got heavy deer pressure and they're really going to leave it alone.
Right.
Not mess with it. I've never seen deer eat it. So
Excuse me.
You okay over there?
Yeah.
But yeah, so the big reason for that is the sap. I don't know if it just leaves like a nasty bitter taste in their mouth. I don't know, but they tend to leave it alone for sure.
Yeah.
So, cool thing about Amsonias, most of the Amsonias that we're going to talk about, and that you see used in the industry, most of them, not all of, but most of, are native to the United States. Not necessarily to every county or every single state, but definitely native to like North America and in the United States. So
yeah, for sure. And I think most of the cultivars we use are native or some hybrid of a native too.
Yeah. Just a nice mounding herbaceous perennial, four-ish seasons of interest. In the spring, you've got pale blue flowers. Some of the cultivars have these really cool black stems when they emerge, like storm cloud Amsonia, which we'll talk about some. In this, after it's done flowering, beautiful texture.
Really lovely,
flowy
fine texture. Yeah.
Adds nice structure. It has presence in the garden.
Yep. And it accentuated by the wind.
Yeah, absolutely. And then in the fall is when it really... So I plant it for the fall rather than the flower.
Me too.
I read a thing where somebody had said that Amsonia is it's not a flower. It's funny. They said it's not a flowering perennial. It's a foliage perennial that happens to flower. So you're not always buying this thing because it's got these big showy flowers all year long. I think that the blue flowers in the spring are an added bonus for sure. But the fall color is where it really shines. You're going to get these beautiful yellows to like coppery colors and oranges, depending on cultivars. But traditionally speaking, it's going to be kind of a yellow with maybe some orange undertones.
It goes into a really nice, not all of the species in cultivars, but like the Hubrichtii, the Amsonia Hubrichtii specifically goes into such a nice fall color. It's like a sugar maple.
Yeah.
But it's like 3 feet tall and it's got really thin leaves and it's wispy, but it's that same like vibe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful plant. And then in the wintertime, that's why I say 4 seasons ish. You can cut it back in the fall if you would like, when it's kind of done doing its thing, or you can leave it standing all winter, which is what I prefer to do.
Same.
The stems are nice and hollow through the wintertime. So it's nesting area for insects or for overwintering insects, just, trying to stay out of the cold and make it to next year.
But it does provide some structure in the winter.
It does provide some structure in the winter. Not the prettiest structure, but some structure. So,
right.
Yeah. That's why I say 4 seasons ish. So,
yeah, I mean, it's going to stick up out of the snow. It's not the kind of plant that's going to catch the snow real nicely because it's so delicate, but it'll provide some sort of visual interest.
Yeah, for sure.
Winter.
Yeah, for sure. I leave mine up all year long. And cut them back.
Another thing that we usually talk about Amsonias as a group, it's not like you use Amsonia too often, like as a single plant.
No.
It's you can, that's fine if you want to, but you're much better served with Amsonia planted in mass.
Yeah, I would try and stick away from planting 1 or 3 Amsonia with lots of space between them and then just like mulch. But planting them in mass, if you're going to plant them individually, or maybe if you want 3 and you want to space them apart, use those 3 as like repetition through the perennial border.
Right.
That kind of carries you across as like a structure plant. They also make good, I don't know what the term would be, like a structural type plant and a matrix type planting. So think like that grassy base layer, whether that be Carex or like a native warm season grass. And you have like this big, pretty Amsonia that's just kind of popping up through the grasses. They work really well in the matrix styles plantings also. And even some of them, we're going to talk about some of these cultivars work really well at the front of the border. That stay a little bit shorter, a little bit more compact, width-wise, and they make a great plant at the front of the border. So,
and we were chit-chatting before this about, when you do plant it in mass, oftentimes it's a great plant to accentuate other plants that can grow up through it.
Yeah.
And it can hide like the shitty, ugly parts of those plants.
Yeah.
And I know that this is a strategy you used on probably one of your first large plantings of Amsonia.
A big mass planting of it, yeah.
And it's a beautiful planting that really is eye-catching in the location you have it. When you're driving through Dublin, it's just like you always kind of come head on with it at a specific intersection. It's just beautiful. But you have bulb alliums. Planted.
Like I don't remember which ones they are, white ones and purple ones, but kind of like that Globe Master.
Right.
Yeah,
big,
early spring.
Big flower heads, whites and blues and purples, various heights and, sizes. But you have those planted. And the thing about those is they're one of the best looking flower in the spring, but the foliage just sucks on
Looks
those
like
things.
dog
Yeah,
shit.
it's just, it's big and ugly and turns brown and and the way you have those popping up through the Amsonias, you can't even see the foliage, and I love that because it looks like these little bubbles floating above the Amsonia that they're just coming out of nowhere.
Yeah.
So
I've always thought that the foliage was really ugly on those, and sometimes it's hard to find things that early in the year to hide some of that ugly foliage. So if you have some of these taller spring flowering bulbs, which a lot of the bulbs really in the spring, the foliage isn't spectacular on them.
Right.
Amsonia is a good one that will really kind of hide some of that ugly foliage as the bulbs are flowering. So,
And really, it's not just bulbs. You can plant a lot of things to kind of intermingle up through Amsonia. I know you and I have both used echinacea some.
Yeah, there's a lot of great plants that pair well with it. Echinacea is a good one. Penstemon,
Rudbeckia maxima,
and just some of the other Rudbeckias, not just Maxima, but the Rudbeckia maxima is nice because it's got that chunky foliage, and I think that contrasts extremely nice with the like Amsonia hubrichtii thin foliage.
Right. Anything with chunky foliage or like big bright flowers is really going to work well growing up through it. So
yeah, and then in the fall time you can do that like early and late. I guess early flowering and late flowering. So you'd have the blue flowers in the spring of the Amsonia, then the beautiful yellow fall color, and you pair that up with like a New England aster, and let that just bright purple flower, blue flower, pink flower, whatever it is, just contrast with
I believe we've got
foliage.
a nice photo of that we can throw up.
We for sure do. Yeah,
on the B-roll here, but
we have a ton of good photos and videos of Amsonia that we'll definitely put in here.
Yeah.
So
there's few things that it won't go well with, and it'll even go great with ornamental grasses. Like, in fact, you were talking about a planting you're going to be doing soon where you're going to use a shorter little blue stem, right, with it.
Yeah.
And even though they both have fine textures, they grow at different rates, and they're color-wise, they're very different. So those two will work very well together.
Yeah. Plus, I think that little blue stem has enough of a vertical presence in the garden.
Yeah.
that it'll work. Even though they're fine foliage, the little blue stem still has that kind of like that strong kind of vertical, look in the garden, if that makes sense.
Makes sense.
Yeah, but yeah, any of the grasses are like I was saying earlier in matrix style plantings, where you have this grassy, like, it doesn't have to be grass, but most of the base layers on these matrix plantings, people are using grasses, whether that's prairie drop seed or caryxes like Pennsylvanica or I don't know, Cecilaria is one that we use a lot. Using these grasses as a base layer and having the Amsonia as like a structural plant coming out of it. But works really nice with those. What else does it work good with? Some of the other, I mean, the penstemon's nice because you get those dark stems and the dark leaves in the fall. So there again, just, beautiful contrast in colors between the Amsonia and penstemon.
I really like it with prairie dock.
Oh yeah,
if we
that big already, chunky foliage. Yeah, for sure.
That's like a really great contrast, because with prairie dock you're talking leaves that are just gigantic like this, and then the opposite end of the spectrum with the Amsonia, just the thin, delicate foliage.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and we've probably mentioned this, but I'll say it again. This is a sun plant for the most part. Amsonias are a full sun plant, so there's a lot of great things that might pair well if it were good in the shade. But we want to stick to sunny plants with this one.
Yeah, full sun. It can grow in a little bit of shade. I would say, like, if you're going to give it some shade, give it some morning shade and let it have more of that afternoon sun. Yeah. The issue with getting it into a little bit too much shade is the plant's still going to grow. It's probably not going to be as dense, and it's going to be a little bit more floppy. I've got Amsonia string theory planted in the front border of my house, and it's in an area that really doesn't it gets like that later afternoon sun, and the plant looks fine and it grows fine, but it's definitely more floppy, and it doesn't stay quite as erect and upright as it should in the perennial border. Yeah, erect. Yeah, I've got a similar situation at home in the back. We've got tons of Amsonia around the yard, but I just had this one plant. I don't know what it was from, and I stuck it in the ground once just to get it in the ground. Yeah, and left it. And and never kind of moved it around, and it's growing kind of under our bird feeder, and it just sends out like a few little wispy shoots that kind of fall over, but it's not that real dense. Yeah, dense, growth habit that you think about, because it's in a lot of shade. Yeah. So yeah, that's that. But what's great about Amsonia, I mean, you give it the sunlight that it wants, and after that, I mean, don't plant it where it's in soggy soils, but like otherwise, it's a pretty forgiving plant when it comes to the soils that it wants. Obviously, you don't want to plant it in straight up rock, or these like super saturated, always wet soils, but it was featured on our Survivor perennials list. Yeah. And what jumps out to me is a picture that I have from Bristol Park in wide cracks. Yeah. Literally like where just drought and there's these wide cracks in the soil. And the Amsonia just looks beautiful. Yeah, for sure. So, but yeah, very drought tolerant. Very drought tolerant. It can take a range of soils from clay to loamy soils and all of that, sandy soils. But not a lot of pests with it. I don't know that I've ever seen pests. I've read through the trials from Mount Cuba. The only issues that they speak of on it is like occasionally, I think it was like over a 10-year trial, occasionally they would have rust and occasionally they'd have some chlorosis. Of these, now I know that some of the cultivars, they've worked good at breeding some of that out, so the plants don't get the chlorosis as much. The cultivar string theory claims to be, a darker green, and can fight through the chlorosis a little bit better. And I've noticed the chlorosis on some plantings that I've gotten where there's just like a couple of plants on one end that are a little bit more yellow in the summer. Yeah, but
they're just as big as the rest of the plants.
Just
And
as big.
once they go into fall color, you don't know
the fall
difference,
color's the same on them. They come back reliably every single year. It's just a little bit of discoloration in the foliage.
Yeah, and we've got pretty high pH soil here. So I mean, the fact that you just see it now and then, I think that's not a problem at all.
Yeah, nothing that's really affecting the plant. I suppose, and for those of you that aren't sure what chlorosis is, when we talk about chlorosis in a plant, it's just like a lack of micronutrients. Specifically, things that we're talking about would be like manganese, iron, things like that.
Yeah.
So it's all about
And it's
the soil makeup and then the micronutrients that are in your soil. And a lot of times the micronutrients are in the soil, but just aren't available to the plant. So there's different things that you can do to help with that. But Amsonia is one that I wouldn't worry about doing anything for.
It's probably iron. And what's funny is, well, it's not funny, but soil science is very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Also very, very boring.
Yeah.
Right? When you say it's boring.
Yeah.
But it's also kind of interesting.
Yeah, for sure.
And what Matt said
was important.
Yeah, it is. But what Matt said, I always find interesting. Like that iron probably is in the soil, but the plant can't. And I'm not going to get into the chemistry of it, but the plant can't take it up if the soil's at a certain pH.
Yeah, it's bound up.
Yeah, it's bound up. It can't be used. It's useless. So, that's just a quick little overview of when we say chlorosis or chlorotic, what we're talking about.
Yeah, and there's one little trick that you can use to help make those micronutrients more readily available is humic acid. Humic acid actually helps break those chemicals or those micronutrients down into a more usable way, I suppose.
And if you're trying to change the pH of your soil altogether, good luck.
Yeah.
I think I could see a homeowner doing it for like a plant or two in their yard, really digging out the soil around the plant and replacing it. But you have to do that often. You have to do that every couple years probably. And you can't just sprinkle coffee grounds around your like your rhododendrons. It's
what else do people use?
You have to be able to turn the soil all around that whole root zone.
Yeah.
You have to be able to change the pH of that, and that's a very difficult thing to do.
Yeah. To change soil composition is just insane.
Yeah.
So, but I mean, really with the Amsonia, we're not worried too much about
Not
it.
at all.
Again, it's something that you may see on your Amsonias, but nothing to be super worried about. As far as pests go, no real pests to worry about. Like we talked about earlier, no real pressure from rabbits, deer, things like that. A good early season pollinator. So we want to talk about this as being like a butterfly weed or a calumet or a mountain mint, something like that. That's just going to have like bees and flies and butterflies all over it all year long. It does provide nectar for early season bees, native bees. And then it also is a host to, and I'm not sure which butterflies and moths, but it is a host plant for butterflies and moths.
Right. You're not going to see butterflies and moths really nectaring too much because when it blooms, when would you say is the bloom period? Like primarily,
I don't know, May?
Early May.
Yeah, early May.
So like pretty early in the season. So don't have a lot of the butterflies and moths, and you don't have a lot of the bees and stuff in the large numbers. It's more like the specialized solitary bees that I find it very important. So it's important to those early pollinators.
Yeah, early pollinators.
But by the time it's done blooming, a lot of the pollinators haven't even woke up yet, if you will. So
yeah, for sure. So it's not one, if you're using it in a pollinator garden, don't use it specifically for thinking that it's going to be some amazing pollinator plant, but use it, like we talked about earlier, use it for that seasonal interest, use it for the texture and the movement in the pollinator garden, use it for the the early season bees that are going to be visiting.
Right.
It.
If you're planting a dynamic pollinator garden, you need to have things that are going to provide nectar from
start to finish. Yeah.
And I mean, I'm talking as early as sometimes February and March. So this wouldn't even be the earliest category, but having things that are available for nectar all season long is very important.
Yeah, so. Absolutely. Something else too, I think that people don't understand about this plant is they go to the nursery, Amsonia hubrichtii, for example. You can go to the nursery all day long and buy it in quarts. Little quart pot for, I don't know, whatever they sell it for retail, $9 or $10, right? You see this cute little, oh, that's nice, little Amsonia hubrichtii, and then you take it home and you plant it and puts on a little bit of growth the first year, right? The second year gets a little bit bigger and you're like, oh, okay, that's a nice size right there, 2 years. And then by the third and fourth year, this thing's like 3 to 4 feet tall and wide. So it does get big. It just takes a while to get there. So be patient with the plant. And when you plant it at first, even though it's in this little quart pot, give that thing some room. And it's easy. It's easy to put a quart down right here and then want to plant other stuff extremely close to it because it's like, I'm going to plant a quart and then leave this, this 3 foot wide circle all around it open, and I think that's something to keep in mind. It's just the size that this plant gets.
And if you do plant some and you realize it's gotten a little bit big, you can cut it back after it blooms. You can take a third off of it if you want to and create a more compact plant. Since it blooms early, just wait till it blooms and then it's not going to affect anything later in the season. Yeah. It's still going to have the fall color. It's just going to be a tighter little plant.
Yeah, it'll be a tighter plant. You can definitely do that. I think that there's cultivars that you can, if you want something smaller and compact, there's definitely cultivars that String Theory, some of these ones that will allow you to plant a plant that's not going to get real big.
Yeah, and the problem with cutting it back too is if you do really have it in mass, which you often do, it becomes a lot of work. And also when you cut those plants back, when you make that stem shorter, it becomes less flowy. And one of the things that I'm planting Amsonia hubrichtii for isn't just the flowers and fall color, but it's that texture and that movement in the wind. And if I cut this thing back by a third or a half, I have a more tidy plant, but it's also a more rigid plant, if that makes sense. More static.
So I think that just right plant for the right place. If you know the area, you don't want this thing to get bigger than 2 feet by 2 feet, then find something else because these Amsonias are going to get some size.
And don't get Matt wrong. He likes some things that are rigid and erect.
Oh, for sure.
He doesn't like his Amsonia to be rigid.
I don't want my Amsonia to be rigid and erect.
I am Sonia.
What else you got about this plant, Timmy?
Well, talking about was it butterscotch or string theory that you just mentioned that gets a little
Spring theory stays smaller.
That takes us into there's a few species we use and some cultivars that kind of belong to each species. So let's take a little bit of a trip into that and talk about Amsonia hubrichtii to start. And what's the common name on that? Threadleaf blue star?
Arkansas blue star.
Okay.
Yeah, is what I always call it.
Hubricht's blue star, I've heard it called.
Yes. So
that's just silly.
This one here, hubrichtii or Arkansas blue star. The species 3 foot tall by wide. I've seen it a little bit shorter. I've seen it a little bit taller. There again, it takes some time to get there. Very thin, grass-like,
very fine foliage,
needle-like
really
foliage,
fine, lovely texture.
Nice green foliage through the summertime, pale blue flowers, like all of these are going to have. Some are a little bit more blue than others. but still blue flower early in the spring, yellow, showy fall color. Butterscotch is a cultivar of Hubrichtii that gets the same size as the species. Everything about the plant's the same. The fall color on it, though, is more of those orangey, butterscotchy colors than just yellow.
Yeah, I tend to gravitate towards the butterscotch.
Yeah.
Personally.
I'll do either one. I don't care. Flip of a coin. What does the nursery have?
Sure.
Oh, you got butterscotch. Okay, I'll take it. Oh, you just have Hubrichtii. Okay, I'll take it.
And I would say that the Amsonia Hubrichtii are probably the kings of the fall color as far as the Amsonias go. They're all going to show some, but these have some of the best fall color.
Yeah.
Like when I talked about them looking like a little sugar maple with thin leaves, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
So,
and then string theory is one that we've talked about. It's also a Hubrichtii. Everything about this plant's the same, but size. You're talking like 2 foot tall max. It'll get a little bit wider, probably 3 foot wide. It will get a little bit of width to it, but it's going to stay pretty short in the border. So,
okay.
Yeah, those are
the Hubrichtii.
Those are some good Hubrichtii. Yeah, for sure.
Love the one, probably the one we use the most.
Yep.
But another species that we use quite a bit of is Amsonia tabernae montana.
Yes. Oh, I wanted to mention something. Fun fact about, before we move on, I was looking down through our notes.
Sorry.
And, we threw a fun fact in here about Hubrichtii. So we refer to Mount Cuba's trials on a lot of different things. You'll hear us talk about Mount Cuba often. And you've turned me on to Mount Cuba. I used to tease you about it, but I go to Mount Cuba, like if I'm trying to find something, like does Mount Cuba have a trial on this? Okay. They do on Amsonias. And Mount Cuba's 10-year Amsonia trial gave straight Amsonia Hubrichtii a 4.7 out of 5 rating, which is fantastic. So on their 10-year trial, Mount Cuba gave a total thumbs up on this plant. So
yeah, A+.
Yeah, A++.
Rock on. Love it.
Yeah, so you were talking Amsonia tabernae montana?
Yeah, I was introducing our next species, which is Amsonia tabernae montana. Similar in form, this species, I would say wider leaves, wider foliage. Not like, I wouldn't call it chunky foliage.
No, in our notes, we have it as willow-like foliage.
Yeah, so it's not quite as thin and delicate and feathery, but it's still a pretty loose, airy plant, the tabernae montana.
Yeah, and I would say the foliage on it is green, but a different shade of green, if that makes more of an olive
green,
like an olivey green color, matte olive color. So you do get a little bit different hue of green in there than compared to Hubrichtii.
Absolutely.
But still a very classic Amsonia form in that 3 foot tall by wide, just really nice structural type perennial.
Right. What cultivars do we tend to like?
The two that we use the most would be Stormcloud, Amsonia Stormcloud. And what's cool about Stormcloud, and I know we've talked about it on the podcast before, is this is the neat one that's going to give you even earlier spring interest. So besides the pale blue flowers that this guy gets, as the stems start to emerge from the ground, they're black. Like dark black, like dark purple. They just look like these zombie fingers coming out of the ground. These black zombie fingers. So super cool, very interesting. And then of course that black eventually fades away to the green or gives way to the green, and you get the pretty blue flowers on it. But
and you still have some remnants of some darker stems throughout the season, especially on some new growth. And yeah, just a slightly wider, more olive grainy leaf on that one. And what's the other cultivar that we like?
The other one is Blue Ice, and that's the one that stays a little bit shorter and more compact, good for the front of the border. Still this like kind of chunkier, willowy like foliage, but
Blue Ice is the one that I'd say is like, as far as all the Amsonias we're going to talk about, is the one that's different than the rest.
Yeah, more of a ground covery like.
Yeah,
you're only talking like 1.5 feet tall.
It's
it does get more width to it there again, but a beautiful not pale blue. The blue ice gets a darker blue flower on it. But still a blue star-like flower in the springtime. I have noticed too, I feel like the blue ice flowers they persist a little bit longer into the season. But with Tabernet Montana, you're still going to get the kind of yellowy foliage. It's just not as, in my opinion, it's not as vibrant of yellow as Hubrichtii, but it's still a nice fall color.
Yeah. So that's the one for the front of the border. If you're going to use
blue
if
ice.
You want an Amsonia for the front of the border, that's like the one to use.
Yeah, blue ice for sure. The storm cloud and the Hubrichtii are going to be similar in size, so you could kind of flop back and forth on whatever size you want there. Jesus, Tim. Yeah, so we've got. I'm looking down through the notes. Tabernet Montana, we hit on now. Hubrichtii, Amsonia illustris or shining Amsonia or Ozark Amsonia. We have it.
It's another native.
Yes, so very similar to Tabernet Montana, but the leaves, rather than being kind of that matte olive colored leaf, they're just very shiny.
Right. We don't see this one as much. This one's one you're going to find at more of like a native specialty nursery.
Yeah.
But not one that we're going to find in the garden center like that's got the popular cultivars, right?
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. You may, I don't know. So we'll hit on some other cultivars, but some of these, there's a lot of these that are hybrid and maybe and they're even unsure of like what the parentage is on the plants. So this may be in there somewhere. But we also have that the leaves are just a little bit thicker and more leather-like than Tabernet Montana. But otherwise,
it's another thing you like is
a little leather. A little leather. Yeah. Well, otherwise, yeah, still yellow, fall color. Still a very similar plant.
Very good.
Illustris, just think the glossy leaves. So, what else do we got? Fringed blue star, Amsonia ciliata. This is one I'm pretty sure is hybridized with some of the others to get some of these wild cultivars that are out there.
Yes.
2 to 3 feet tall, fine, narrow foliage, similar to Hubrichtii, blue flowers.
Native.
This one is native primarily to the southern United States. Yeah, but a lot of different interesting forms and cultivars that are out there, some newer introductions and stuff. So a couple of them would be like halfway to Arkansas is one that you'll see. Okay. Georgia Pancake's another one.
I wonder why those names.
I don't know. Georgia Pancake stays small. I mean, like inches tall.
So pancakes are short.
Because pancakes are short and wide.
Okay,
like a sewer plate.
Yeah,
like Sean
Shipman.
Yeah. Some other cultivars. We hit on Storm Cloud. We hit on Blue Ice, String Theory, halfway to Arkansas. Some of the notes we had on it. Little bit later fall color. It's a bigger one. It'll get 4 feet by 4 feet.
Yeah.
There again, fine foliage. Starstruck is a Tabernet Montana. That's a Starstruck's a good one. Wider leaves and Storm Cloud. I'm just reading off some of the bullet points on these cultivars. Wider leaves and Storm Cloud, but a more compact plant. So later bloomer than Storm Cloud. Dark olive stems, not quite as dark as Storm Cloud, but you still get some of those dark stems on it.
Yeah, a lot of them tend to come out with that darker foliage, but Storm Cloud is really accentuated.
Yeah, absolutely. So Starstruck would be a good one. If you like the Storm Cloud or Tabernet Montana, just the species, but you want something a little bit more compact in size, Starstruck would be a good one for you.
What about baseball?
Yeah, so it's interesting. We talk a lot about intrinsic perennials, right? And Brent Horvath and all of the great breeding that he does up there in Wisconsin or Illinois, wherever he's at up there. Anyways, he's put a lot of great introductions out of a lot of different plants, but he's got a great series of Amsonias that are baseball themed. And we were like, why in the world? What's with all these baseball names that Brent? Like, is he some sort of like huge baseball fan? And I'm sure he is. But what did you read about that?
Just that it seemed like a fun fun series to, keep going with this baseball theme, easy to remember and fun. So
Keeps all of his stuff kind of together too.
yeah.
Everybody knows it's a Brent
If
introduction.
it's a baseball name.
Yeah.
So, and we've got bases loaded. We've got, is a stolen base.
Grand slam, bases loaded, 7th inning stretch, first hit and shortstop.
Okay, so there is no stolen base.
I didn't write down stolen base, but
I just dreamed that one up.
that's a good one. There you go, Brent. Next one, stolen base. But yeah, so those are the intrinsic
and
perennial
those
baseball
are
series.
that series. They're hybrids, right?
All hybrids. I had a phone conversation with Brent about a couple of these earlier in the spring, and it was kind of like trying to figure out the parentage on some of these different plants, just to kind of get an idea of like growth habit, sizes, things like that. And he was like, yeah, I think it's this and this, but I'm not 100% sure. Because I think what a lot of this is, they're growing these plants in blocks and stuff, and they're all close together. So you get some of that like cross pollination, and then they seed, and a seedling comes up, and it's like, oh, cool. Well, it's come up and looks similar to Tabernet Montana, and it came up in the Tabernet Montana patch, but it's different. So I'm not 100% sure what the other part of this is.
Right.
But so I think that there's some guessing with that. But yeah, and then they grow that stuff out and see what it does, and it's fun.
That's fun. That's not the industry for me, but it's cool. I'm glad people do it.
Yeah, I've always thought it would be interesting to know about it, because I'm always like, man, like
it'd be interesting to know about it and dabble in it, but I don't know that I could just like do that for a living.
Yeah, you couldn't have like an intrinsic perennials.
I know you couldn't.
Me? Well, I'm not patient enough.
Yeah,
could you imagine like
I know
trying to create a hybrid and then having to wait?
You want results right away.
Yeah,
and plus, you're just too outgoing and gregarious to do something like that, like you are.
Wow.
Because the plants aren't going to have a conversation with you. And so, and you spend a lot of time with just plants and less time with people. Like right now you work with a lot of people. And I just don't.
But as I get older, I feel like,
the
older I get, the less I want to be around a lot of people.
I get it. Trust me. I get
Like,
it. But you put on a good facade because you do good at talking to people.
I'm like one of those people though that like, I like to talk to people, but am very quick to check out of conversations too. If that makes sense.
It does.
Like I could walk up to someone at a conference and be all chatty Cathy with them and all of this and that, and everything's great. But after like 10 or 15 minutes of conversation, I'm just kind of like, okay, I'm ready to check out,
I've seen you have some pretty long conversations with some people.
Yeah, for sure.
Anyhow.
But that's more as I've gotten older too. I'm just like, I just don't want to be around a lot of people.
Yeah.
A lot of people just start to piss me off.
I got you.
Yeah.
I got you.
So what else you want to hit on with Amsonias?
I don't know. What do you want to hit on with Amsonias?
I feel like I've done a whole lot of talking, Tim.
You have, but
is it because I like Amsonias so much?
You're the Amsonia guy more so. So I just followed your lead a little bit.
Okay. I mean, that's really all I had down in my notes on Amsonia.
What I hope is that it gets some people interested and excited to put Amsonia in their garden, because it is a very valuable plant in the perennial border. And do you have to use Amsonia in perennial borders? No. But adding Amsonia really adds so much to the landscape when you do.
I agree.
So
I totally agree. It just adds.
With Amsonia, there's not like a great replacement for it.
There's nothing that's going to give you the texture of Hubrichtii. Well,
there's things that are going to give you that texture,
Vernonia,
but then you won't have the fall color.
Nope.
Or there's things that are going to give you some fall color, but maybe not that texture.
Yeah.
Or the flowers. There's just it's a cool plant. It's very dynamic.
Yep.
And
so people throwing Amsonia in your toolbox of plants to use in 2026, the fall of 2026, or next spring of 2027. Get you some Amsonia, like we talked about. There's a lot of cultivars, more cultivars getting introduced all the time. I know there's 2 from Plants Nouveau. I don't know if they're out yet. That are going to be coming out.
If they're not out yet, don't talk about them.
I'm not talking about them.
That'll get you in trouble.
But yeah, so a lot of good ones coming out. What else? Yeah. I really feel like you could find one to fit just about any situation you've got. So
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hopefully you learned something. There's going to be some good pictures because I've taken a lot of good pictures of Amsonia over the years.
I am Sonia.
But
also not related to Amsonia. It was brought to our attention that a couple weeks ago we mentioned our friend Olivia.
Yes.
And it was brought to our attention that we misrepresented her, where she graduated from. We said that she did get a degree from Ohio State, which we mentioned. She got her master's from Ohio State, and now she works at the University of Michigan Botanical Gardens, but she got her undergrad at Iowa State.
Yeah.
Cyclones. So, sorry about that to all our Iowa State folks, because there's a lot of you, and sorry
and
to
Olivia.
So,
and thank you, Marcus, for bringing it to our attention. You got our back, bro, and we appreciate that.
Go Cyclones.
But maybe also, like, Marcus, just like acknowledge the fact that we've like man crushed over your mustache now for a while. Can you just like acknowledge that at some point?
Is it awkward when you see us in person? You're like, man, they just gushed about my mustache.
I don't even care if it's awkward.
I know you don't.
I don't think he cares either.
Where is Iowa State? Is that Ames, Iowa?
It's in Iowa.
Ames?
I don't know. It's in Iowa. That's all I know. What the hell is in Iowa? What cities?
Des Moines and Ames.
Okay, Des Moines. I've never heard of Ames. Des Moines. It's the only town I've ever heard of in Iowa. Where's it at?
Ames.
Oh, you're awesome.
Now you're hurting people's feelings when you say you didn't even heard of Ames.
Dude, the people that feeling I'm hurting have never heard of Marysville, Ohio.
I know, but there's not a major land grant university located in Marysville, Ohio either.
No, Honda of America's here, and the Scott's Miracle Grow Company's here.
I'm pretty sure, though, that at least there was. I don't know if there currently still is, but there's a germplasm center, like the OPGC.
Oh, right on. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
There's one in Ames, Iowa, and they focus on different genera, different priority genera than the OPGC does. But I know there's one, or there was one in Ames, Iowa.
Oh, right on. Very cool. Yeah, there's a handful of those
Close
across
to
the
my
United
heart.
States.
Yeah.
So
there you
cool.
go.
Right on, peeps. Well, I think that kind of wraps it up for the Amsonia deep dive.
Hopefully it was deep enough for you.
Yeah.
Is it deep enough for you?
Yeah, I feel good.
Okay.
You feel good?
Yeah.
I don't think you had fun with this episode, but that's all right.
I had fun.
Okay.
I had fun.
If you say so.
I tried my best. So
Okay.
I definitely was not the smart one in this episode.
That's how I feel about 95% of the time.
That's not true.
I just feel like I'm a voice on here following Tim's lead.
Okay.
All right.
I think we need to wrap it up.
People, we love you all harder +2.
Rock on.
With the caco.
Mike.
Bye-bye.
Bye.